Is this the end? Ruben Amorim faces his biggest test as United crisis deepens. Welcome back to United Daily Updates, your trusted source for all things Manchester United. If you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel where we break down every United story as it happens. We've been covering this club through thick and thin, and today we need to talk about something that might change everything. The question on every United fan's mind right now is simple but terrifying. Is Ruben Amorim about to become another failed Manchester United manager? After Sunday's crushing 3-0 defeat to Manchester City in the derby, that question isn't just being whispered in the stands anymore. It's being shouted from the rooftops, and the answers coming back aren't pretty. The numbers don't lie. Let's start with the facts because sometimes the truth hits harder than any opinion. Ruben Amorim took charge of Manchester United in November, and what we've seen since then has been nothing short of a disaster. Think about this for a moment. In 31 Premier League matches under Amorim, United have won just 8 games. 8 wins out of 31 matches. That's a win rate of around 25% in the league. To put that into perspective, that's worse than what most relegation-threatened teams manage in a full season. But it gets worse. United have collected just 31 points from those 31 league games. That's an average of exactly 1 point per game. In the Premier League, 1 point per game over a full season gets you relegated. No questions asked. Last season ended with United finishing in 15th place. 15th. Let that sink in for a moment. This is Manchester United we're talking about. The club that once dominated English football. The club that Sir Alex Ferguson turned into a winning machine for over 2 decades. And now, here we are in September, and after just 4 league matches this season, United are already back in the bottom half of the table. The pattern is repeating itself, and it's getting harder to see a way out. What went wrong against City? Sunday's derby defeat wasn't just another loss. It was a statement about how far this United team has fallen under Amorim's management. Manchester City didn't just beat United. They completely outclassed them in every department. The 3-0 scoreline actually flattered United. City could have scored more if they wanted to. They controlled the game from start to finish, and United looked lost, confused, and completely out of ideas. But here's what made it even more painful to watch. This wasn't a case of City being brilliant and United being unlucky. This was United being poor while City played at about 70% of their capability. When your biggest rivals can beat you comfortably without even trying their hardest, you know you have serious problems. The tactics didn't work. The players looked like they didn't understand what they were supposed to be doing. The energy wasn't there. The fight wasn't there. And most worryingly of all, there was no sign that things are getting better. The tactical puzzle that won't solve. One of the biggest criticisms of Amorim has been his tactical stubbornness. When something isn't working, the best managers adapt. They change their approach. They try something different. They find a way to get results even when their preferred system isn't clicking. Amorim seems unable or unwilling to do this. He keeps using the same formations, the same tactics, and the same approach, even when it's clearly not working. This isn't just frustrating for fans. It's devastating for the players who have to go out there and try to make it work. Against top-half opponents this season, United have averaged less than 1 goal per game while conceding nearly 2. These aren't the numbers of a team that's going through a rough patch. These are the numbers of a team that's completely broken. When you break it down further, it gets even more concerning. United's attacking play has been toothless. They create very few clear chances. They struggle to keep the ball in dangerous areas. And when they do get opportunities, they often waste them. At the other end, the defense has been just as poor. They concede goals from set pieces. They concede goals from counterattacks. They concede goals from basic mistakes. There doesn't seem to be any area of the pitch where United are consistently solid under Amorim. The Benifica connection. Is there a way out? Now, here's where things get interesting. Just as United's crisis reaches a new low, reports are emerging that Ruben Amorim might have an escape route. And it leads straight back to Portugal. Benifica, one of Portugal's biggest clubs, are apparently interested in bringing Amorim back. This isn't just media speculation. There are real people involved with real connections to both clubs. João Neurona Lopes is running for president of Benifica, and has made it clear that he wants Amorim back at the club. Lopes was even spotted at the Etihad Stadium watching United's defeat to City, along with Nuno Gomes, who is a close friend of Amorim and played alongside him years ago. Pedro Ferreira, Benfica's general director, was also at the game. When you have 3 important figures from another club watching your manager during one of his worst defeats, it's hard not to read between the lines. The connection makes sense on paper. Amorim spent nearly 10 years at Benfica as a player. He knows the club inside out. He understands the culture, the expectations, and the way things work there. For him, it might feel like coming home. But there's a major complication that makes this potential move much more complex than it first appears. The sporting problem. Here's the thing that makes Amorim's potential return to Benfica so controversial. While he played for Benfica, he made his name as a manager at Sporting CP. And if you know anything about Portuguese football, you'll know that Sporting and Benfica absolutely hate each other. The rivalry between these two clubs is one of the fiercest in all of European football. It's not just about winning games. It's about pride, history, and identity. When players or managers cross from one club to the other, it's seen as a betrayal that fans never forget or forgive. Amorim built his reputation at Sporting. He won the league title there. He developed young players there. He became a hero to Sporting fans. If he now joins Benfica, those same fans who once loved him will see him as a traitor. This isn't just about hurt feelings. In Portuguese football, crossing that divide can define your entire legacy. Players and managers who switch between these rivals often find themselves hated by both sets of fans in the end. So the question becomes, is Amorim desperate enough to leave United that he's willing to risk his reputation in Portugal? And is the pressure at Old Trafford so intense that he sees no other choice? What this means for United fans. For United supporters, this situation creates a strange mix of emotions. On one hand, many fans have completely lost faith in Amorim. They want him gone. They're tired of watching their team play awful football and get poor results. If Benfica want him, some fans might think that's perfect, but on the other hand, having your manager linked with other jobs while he's supposed to be fixing your problems is never a good sign. It suggests that even Amorim knows this isn't working and might be looking for a way out. The timing makes it even worse. United are struggling badly, and instead of the manager fighting to turn things around, there are reports that he might be planning his exit strategy. How is that supposed to inspire confidence in the players or the fans? There's also the bigger picture to consider. If Amorim leaves, United will be looking for yet another manager. This would be the latest in a long line of managerial changes since Sir Alex Ferguson retired. Each time, the club promises that the new man will be different. Each time, it ends in disappointment. The player's perspective. One thing that often gets overlooked in these situations is how the players must be feeling. Imagine being a United player right now. You're already struggling with confidence because results have been so poor. The fans are frustrated with you. The media is constantly criticizing you. And now, on top of all that, there are reports that your manager might be looking to leave. How do you prepare for training? How do you focus on the next game? How do you believe that things will get better when even the man in charge might not believe it anymore? This kind of uncertainty can destroy a dressing room. Players start wondering if they should be looking for moves themselves. They start questioning everything they're being told. Team spirit breaks down, and performance levels drop even further. It's a vicious cycle that's very hard to break once it starts. And United seem to be right in the middle of it. The financial reality. Let's talk about money because football is always about money in the end. United are paying Amorim a substantial salary to manage the team. If they want to get rid of him, they'll likely have to pay him off. That's expensive. But keeping him might be even more expensive in the long run. Poor results mean less revenue from prize money. They might mean missing out on European competition entirely. They definitely mean unhappy sponsors and unhappy fans. The club's owners, the Glazer family, are business people first and foremost. They'll be looking at these numbers and asking serious questions about whether this investment in Amorim is worth it. From their perspective, they brought in a manager who was supposed to improve things. Instead, things have gotten worse. Much worse. At some point, you have to cut your losses and try something different. What happens next? So where does all this leave us? United are in crisis, their manager is being linked with other jobs, and there's no clear sign that anything is going to improve anytime soon. The next few games are going to be crucial. If United continue to struggle, the pressure on Amorim will become unbearable. The Benfica rumours will only get louder. And at some point, something will have to give. But what if United somehow turn things around? What if they start winning games and playing better football? Would that kill the Benfica interest? Would Amorim want to stay and prove his doubters wrong? Right now, it's hard to see where that improvement might come from. The team doesn't look like they understand what Amorim wants them to do. The tactics aren't working. The players seem confused and lacking in confidence. The bigger picture for United. This Amorim situation is really just a symptom of bigger problems at Manchester United. Ever since Sir Alex Ferguson retired, the club has struggled to find the right manager, the right players, and the right direction. They've tried experienced managers like Jose Mourinho and Louis van Gaal. They've tried club legends like Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. They've tried young, promising coaches like Erik ten Hag. And now they've tried Amorim, who was supposed to bring fresh ideas and new energy. None of it has worked. The problem might not be the managers. It might be the structure of the club, the way decisions are made, the pressure of expectations, or the difficulty of rebuilding a squad that has been neglected for years. Until United fix these deeper issues, they might keep going through managers without ever finding the right solution. Amorim might leave, but his replacement could easily face the same problems and the same fate. Learning from history. Manchester United's history is full of difficult periods that the club eventually overcame. But it's also worth remembering that even the great Sir Alex Ferguson had a tough start at Old Trafford. He nearly got fired in his early years because results weren't good enough. The difference was that Ferguson was eventually given time to build something. He was allowed to make mistakes and learn from them. The club backed him through the difficult periods, and eventually, it all came together. The question is whether modern football allows for that kind of patience anymore. Fans, media, and owners all expect immediate results. Social media makes every criticism louder and every failure more public. Amorim has been in charge for less than a year, but in modern football, that might be enough time to judge whether someone is the right fit or not. And based on the results so far, it's hard to argue that he is. The fans' dilemma. As United fans, this situation puts us in a difficult position. We want to support our manager and give him time to succeed. But we also want to see progress, and right now, there's very little sign of that. The question becomes, how long do you stick with someone when things clearly aren't working? How many bad results do you accept before you admit that a change might be necessary? Different fans will have different answers to these questions. Some will say Amorim deserves more time and better players. Others will say the evidence is clear that he's not up to the job. What we can all agree on is that something needs to change. United can't continue playing this poorly and getting these kinds of results. Whether that change comes from Amorim finding solutions or from the club finding a new manager, it needs to happen soon. Conclusion: a crossroads moment. We're at a crossroads moment for both Ruben Amorim and Manchester United. The next few weeks could determine the future of both the manager and the club season. If the Benifica rumours are true, and if Amorim is genuinely considering his options, then United might be facing yet another managerial change. That would be disappointing for everyone involved, but it might also be inevitable given how poorly things have gone. If Amorim stays and somehow turns things around, it would be one of the most remarkable comebacks in recent United history. But right now, that seems like the less likely outcome. What's most important is that United find a way to start winning games again. Whether that's with Amorim or someone else, the club needs to get back to playing the kind of football that United fans deserve to see. The patience of supporters is running out. The pressure from the media is getting stronger. And the results on the pitch aren't giving anyone much reason for hope. Something has to change, and it has to change soon. The question is whether Ruben Amorim will be the man to lead that change, or whether his time at Old Trafford is already coming to an end. As always, we'll be here on United Daily Updates to cover every development as it happens. Make sure you're subscribed to our YouTube channel so you don't miss any of our analysis and reaction to whatever comes next in this incredible story. One thing's for certain: the next few weeks are going to be fascinating, frustrating, and probably decisive for the future of Manchester United. Hold on tight, United fans. This rollercoaster isn't slowing down anytime soon.